Yes, I'm there.
There you go. All right.
All right.
See you later.
Okay.
Yeah, if you want to use the buds, you can just plug it in. Remember the jack is wonky. You have to kind of pull it out just a little bit. Wrong one.
Hey, can people hear me? Yeah,
Loud and clear.
I can't hear them though. Somebody say something for me.
Pull that out just a little bit.
Hello.
Oh, let there be light. Nope, you're gone
Let there
again.
be sound. Pull it out just a little bit.
Gosh. Talk again, somebody.
Hey.
Hello. It's not working for me.
You have it. How about now?
Can you hear me
We're
now?
good. There you go.
Well, how wonderful. I get to have special dispensation to use Zoom. We will do this next time. Oh gosh, thank you for your patience. Yes, hallelujah, amen. You know what? This is very much how counseling sessions can go. Sometimes you really gotta be spontaneous and shoot from the hip and get help from unsuspecting resources around your office. I'm grateful to Steve for doing that. So what I wanted to talk about was the structure of the class. And I started out by saying that it's a 14-week class with 7 weeks worth of material, meaning that you're gonna have more time to digest this information. And also at week 7, you're gonna get really tired because you're used to them being done in week 7. So when we get to week 7, we're just gonna talk about it, all right? We're going to process what that feels like to have a very academic course last for 14 weeks. I think maybe your psychopharm or your psychopath course goes that same way, but most of the others don't. So this course is a survey course of an overview of the history and the practice of marriage and family therapy. So you're going to get a taste of all different kinds of people in this field and their passions, if you will, because all of these theorists that we're going to be reading about have a huge passion for what they're doing. And their passion is so great that they do research and then they write books and then their names become very prevalent in the field. So in my experience of going to conferences and watching these people present their cases, it's very, what I've seen is that their personalities match their theory. It's kind of fun to watch that. So their passions come out in their, oh my goodness.
Patty?
Yes.
Patty?
Yes.
Sometimes Steve has to run it off of his hotspot on his phone, and then we can get a better connection. So I don't know if maybe that's what's going on, but this will happen to him, and that's usually what he does.
He's got his phone in his hand. I just lost the connection,
Nice.
and suddenly 13 boxes appeared.
Yeah. So
I got you pegged, Dr. Kappa.
fire up the hotspot.
So what should we do?
Well, I mean, is it okay now?
It is, but I'm threatened that it'll go away again. So you all do this every week with him, don't you? Or some other professor?
We're gonna
Kappa's 2 nights in a row.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
we're gonna get use my phone as a hotspot, gang, and get it working that way. So there might be a little lapse here.
Are we good?
There you go.
Okay, here we are again. All right. Thank you, sir. I'm discombobulated. So the two big written assignments for this 14 weeks is the genogram, which is, all that information is in session 4 for the genogram. And it's a rather complex assignment, meaning that you're going to dig into your own family histories. And I want to just give you a little, a bit of a warning that it can be kind of personal, and it might open up some new ideas and new things you haven't talked about when you look at patterns in your own family, and that happens sometimes. So I just want to let you know about that. And it also can be a bit life-changing when you look at your family history from generations back and things that repeat themselves and seeing things that have changed the course of your family. And I really hope you also enjoy the process of that genogram. And that takes me to the question of dyads or triads. And I should have posted this in announcements, and I will after we're done here, that you get to pick your dyad or triad that you're going to work together. You're not working together on the projects. You're mainly reading each other's genogram. So, and in your paper, you're going to have a little reflection paragraph about your dyad partner or triad partner's genogram. So again, you're not doing these projects together, but you're supporting each other, and then you're also reading each other's material of what you wrote. One of the reasons why I want you to do that is because I want you to get an idea of what a different family looks like rather than just your own. And in this online format, we can't be watching 20 presentations. It's different than in the in-seat. So I've taught this course in-seat, and they would present their genograms in class, but here we're going to do it differently. We're going to read each other's paper. If you do have a triad where you have three people, so let's call them A, B, and C. A will read B's, B's will read C's, and C's will read A's. Now, if you want to read all of them, I am so great with that. You decide, but it's not mandatory, and you might be intrigued and want to read each other's, all of you in the same group, and that's fine too. Any questions about that? No? Okay. So the other big project for this course is the final project at the end of the 14 weeks. It's twofold. You're going to do a literature review of a certain theory or theorist that you are interested in. I'm not going to dictate which you choose. I do want to know who you're going to choose. And I also want to be of support to you with that choice. So, you know, say you get in a roadblock finding research or any kind of support I can give you, please, please, please don't hesitate to email me or ask me the question in the student lounge. I went into the counseling field because I like to talk to people. So don't ever hesitate to talk to me. I want to hear from you. All right. Don't leave a question unanswered, or I don't want you to have any more frustration than you need to. Although the learning process can be frustrating by its very nature. In that last paper, you can have duplicates, and I know I've been saying this in the student lounge. More than one student can research the same theorist or the same theory or practice. That's okay with me. However, my one caveat to that is that you have to have different journal articles, because this is a literature review and I want you to be digging out there. So I will, when I get all the projects topics that people want to do, I'll write that out. And when you see someone say, I know there are 2 people doing Bowen, and those 2 are doing Bowenian theory, and you 2, I want you to have a conversation about journal articles, all right? Does that make sense? All right. You can pick a person, you can pick a theory, the book, which I have on the floor here. Oh, that's gonna mess me up. It's gonna pull my plug out. Let's stop. The textbook, the Nichols textbook, is like getting several sips off of fire hose. And that fire hose, I want you to pick the drip that you want out of it, and what is meaningful to you in your internships, in your interests. Please pick the one that you're gonna enjoy the most. That's really what I want you to do. And we're going to be reviewing them all in the 14 weeks. So you pick the one you want to really dig deep into and learn more. Most of those theorists have videos on YouTube. Even the old folks like Whitaker and Satir, Madonnas, people who were doing this in the 60s, you can still find some videos on there. There are some video opportunities in the course shell that come from the CCU library, and there's even more on YouTube. So, use that as a resource for you so you can actually see them in action as they're working. And I just think that's enriching to our learning. Do you have any questions on the research project?
I'm sorry, I have a question. We didn't need to let you know about that till session 4, is that correct?
That's right.
Some people have picked theirs, but if we're not sure, we still have a few more weeks.
You do.
Okay.
Again, remember, this is a 14-week class. It's just different. It's not going to have that same kind of time-sensitive pressure that you're used to feeling. But the opposite of that is like we might feel like we're in quicksand a little bit, especially at week 7 when you're used to winding down and starting fresh. So you do have some time with that, Natalie. And I really want you to just peruse the textbook, because everybody, all the movers and shakers are there. And even those who have done some research and a little bit of writing are in there. Some of those folks, you probably won't be able to find enough research on them, or meaning that they haven't done, what's the word I'm looking for? Like trials, like the people, more of the current day people have, like John Gottman has tons of research. Sue Johnson has tons of research. I think Richard Schnarch has tons of research. So, some of the more current people may have a little bit more research out there. But the people, we'll just see how that goes. If you choose Bowen, who's one of the early pioneers, I believe you'll find enough material for him too. And if you don't, talk to me. Let's talk about it. Yeah, let's see. And also those dyads and triads. Let's talk a little bit about the presentation. The presentations you're going to sign up with start in week 8. And there's approximately 20 people in this class. So there's going to be 2 to 3 people uploading their presentations to VoiceThread every week. And that will be, I'll set up a calendar for you to sign up for those weeks. They don't have to be your dyad or triad person. You can sign up for the date that works in your life. If you're one of those folks who wants to get it out of the way, try to get one of the earlier weeks. If you need more time, take one of the later weeks. And in your actual paper, you will have a little paragraph for that person's presentation who you watched, but just a reflection. Okay, and that's written in the directions. In session 4, I believe it has those directions for the lit review, and it'll say all of this. And if anything's confusing, you just ask me. There's another piece to those presentations starting in week 8. And what I've decided is that I want you to watch one presentation a week as part of your reading. And remember, those presentations can't be more than 20 minutes long. And I welcome shorter ones. I'm fine with that. I have a big devotion for brevity and being concise in the counseling room. And I'm really okay if you do that in your presentation as well. I think it's really, really good practice. Any questions on that?
Do you have a minimum requirement in mind on that for the time?
That's a good question. I would say 10 minutes would be my minimum, 20 minutes maximum. That gives you some flexibility. And with the, and we'll talk about this more as session 8 comes, when we get closer to that. One of your talking points will be about that one presentation that you watched that week. So 3 talking points each week. Right now they're on the readings and the viewings. I'm really flexible too about what you decide to write about in your talking points. Again, I want you to be looking and reading and writing what is makes sense to you and what you enjoy looking at in that textbook. So you have a choice about what those talking points consist of. I'm not really directive on that very much. Any other questions about the course and how it proceeds?
Patty, for this week, is there talking points we need to post for a grade, or was it was just the getting to know you, right?
Just
Okay.
the getting to know you. Isn't that the oddest thing? So I was surprised to see that, and I thought, oh, you all get a break. And it's so wonderful you all came to the Collaborate anyway, because you don't get any extra points tonight. So thank you for being here. I appreciate you taking your time to be with us together. That's fabulous. So yeah, no talking points this week. That'll start next week. Everyone has to do 3 talking points in the discussion post. If you attend Collaborate, you don't have to do your 2 responses. Right? Okay, good. All right. And please say you attended. Yes, Sarah.
Do you mind if, so my plan, my hope is that I'll be at the 6 o'clock one pretty steady, but I might have to pick up a group for one of my coworkers when they're on vacation. So if you flip, is it okay to flip between the 8 and the 6 if we need to week, or?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
absolutely. Yeah, you do not have to conform to one time each Wednesday. If you look on the, if you go on the Collaborate tab, which we're going to use Zoom from now on, but if you want to look at that, that gives you all the dates. There are a few weeks that we won't have Collaborates. And also, I'm wondering if Collaborate will work easier if there's only the 2 of us talking, like me and one of you students. If you want to set up a time to talk with me at any time, again, like I say, I just love talking to people and listening to them. So if you want to set something up, I'm always available. I have a very small private practice, and so I have flexibility in my schedule is what I'm saying. So I can meet at different times, and I want to make sure you know that's available to you if you need anything. There's a lot of material in this course. There is a lot. So if you have any questions about it. Okay. Yes, Heather. Did you turn your
There we
mic?
go. My goodness. Yeah, I wasn't wanting to unmute. I just wanted to clarify on the weeks that we don't meet for Zoom. Is it okay to still post the 3 talking points, but then just respond to 2 of our peers? Or do you want a traditional discussion post paragraph form with responses to peers.
I'm going to make a decision right now and say just keep the talking points and respond to your peers those weeks that we don't have collaborate. Let's keep it as simple and uniform as we possibly can. And if I forget something, see, I've got lots of gray hair. If I forget any of these things, will you all remind me? You have total permission to set me straight if I change course, all right? So I've been known to do that. Just ask my kids. So you tell me, all right? This is a conversation, this class. We're having conversations, whether they're written or they're in collaborate. And so keep me honest here, all right? Because sometimes I forget. Any more questions at the moment?
So Patty, just to clarify, the presentations and the paper on the topic that we choose, we're individually writing those. The dyads come in with reviewing the genogram and then who we watch in the presentations. Am I following that part right? I think I got kind of clunky somewhere in there.
Yeah, I think you're really, really close.
Okay. I'll take that. Just help me get to the finish line.
Okay. The dyad, you're going to watch their paper. Watch their presentation. You know, let me think about a little bit if I want you to read each other's paper in the dyad. I think I do want you to read each other's paper in the dyad, and then you write a response. You don't just watch the presentation, but read their paper. But don't hold me to that. Let me think about that. What I want is the most useful means of education for you. So for right now, you're going to watch each other's presentation in the dyad and write about it in your paper. And each week, you're going to pick one presentation to watch every week from week 8 to 14. And that is going to be one talking point in the discussion. Now, I haven't used VoiceThread before. That's new for me. Have you all used VoiceThread? So you're all a step ahead of me. So I understand that you can go and watch a presentation and you can make comments in that presentation, correct? Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you a choice. You can go in there and watch the presentation. This is what I'm doing with my fingers. Camera's not picking it up. And you can write in that presentation your comments, or you can make one of your talking points that comment. If you decide not to use the talking point for that comment, just tell me where it is in the presentation, what the minute is. And it also says that in the directions inside the shell. Again, that's not going to start until week 8.
So when we're doing our dyads, like when we picked our dyads, it wasn't to do the presentation together.
No.
So I can do a totally different thing than I had chosen with my dyad.
Yeah.
Where originally I thought it was like we had to do it together.
No.
Okay.
That's a little different in this course, isn't it? A lot of the times you're doing them together. I want you to each do this yourselves. Again, it's a 14-week class. You have more time. And I want you to have, in this class, total freedom to investigate what you want to investigate rather than working on negotiating with your partner or your dyad partner. All right? So, and you all know how to do that because you've been doing that all through these courses. So here, it's really your own research. And the same with the genogram. It's your own paper, and you're going to read each other's paper for sure with the genogram. And then for the research paper, you're going to watch each other's presentation in the dyad. And let me think about whether I want you to read each other's paper or not. I think that the more I think about it, the more I like it. So I'll keep you posted on that. Okay.
Okay, so is the dyad or triad that we have for the genogram the same dyad or triad for the presentation, or are we regrouping?
You could do it either way you want. You can keep the same person, so people, or you can switch. Just keep me posted. Okay.
Gotcha.
It sounds like it might be easier to keep the same people all along if you want to, but you don't have to. Okay. And I kind of like it if there's pros and cons to having your dyad partner be the same subject as you. The pros of it are is that you can encourage each other and help each other understand the theory that you're looking at or the people. The downside of that, you don't get to learn deeper another theory within marriage and family. So there's pros and cons to both. Okay.
So Patty, when we're signing up for presentations in session 8, since we are gonna at least watch our partner's presentation and then probably read the paper, we would need to all sign up for the same week then?
No, you don't have to.
Oh, okay. Okay.
No, you really don't have to. This is really you're really working independently, but it does mean you're going to have to communicate about watching each other's presentation to write it in your paper. All the papers are due at the end of the course. It's the presentations that are going to start being due week 8. Okay, so you have a lot of time and a lot of flexibility. Now, if it works better for you, Heather, to have everybody in your triad at the same day, that's fine. If that helps, that's really fine. So a disclaimer here is I've taught this in SEAT. I haven't taught it online. So we're going to be having this adventure together. And I am always open to change and making things cleaner and slicker. And so we'll see how it goes, all right? But the genogram, a few more things about the genogram. I'm giving you actually 2 weeks to do that because you're going to write your paper, and then you need time to write. You're going to write it. I think it's due the 4th. I'll have to look, see when it is. I can't remember. And then you all have a break. There's going to be a week break. I think it's before week 5. And that's going to give you a week to read each other's paper. And then you're going to comment on it in your paper, and then it's going to be due. If you look at the due dates, you'll see what I did there. And I think I explained it in the genogram assignment on session 4. So I just wanted to give you enough time to read each other's paper. So that week off came on at a really nice time. Okay. Any other questions about any of this stuff? So marriage and family therapy, it is my whole program in my graduate studies was all marriage and family. Everything we did was pointed towards that. And all of our practicums were pointed towards that. So I did individuals, couples, and families. I actually had a special practicum semester long of just families. So it was and still is my passion. But as I've been in this field since the 90s, it's really changed. Family therapy doesn't happen as often as it used to. It seems to focus more on couples these days. And for me, that's fine. I work with a lot of couples in my practice, and it's what I really love to do. And it's my point of view that if you help the couple become more solid, stable, connected well, then the rest of the family will do better as well. There's ripple effects, and that's the whole thing with family systems. That's why it's called a system. There's ripple effects. And so I find that just very exciting, and you can get a lot done in a short amount of time, which fits my personality. I like that as well. So in the early days of psychology with Freud and Jung, and as the field developed, it was very individual, very protective of the people, the clients, keeping everything really, really private. And what happened was that some researchers, psychiatrists were working with people with schizophrenia, and they were working with them in the hospital. And they would see great improvement in the hospital, and then they would send them home. And guess what they would find? Yes, Corey, they would tank. They would tank. And it wasn't necessarily schizophrenia. It could have been depression. It could have, you know, it was early in the field, so they didn't have a whole lot of diagnosis back in the day. But yes, they would go back home to the same environment, and they would tank, and they would go back to their old symptoms. And they kept trying to figure out, why is this happening? Why are they regressing? And they finally thought, well, let's include the environment that they're going home to. And that's how it all started. And they've been, well, the field has been changing and growing ever since. So it's fun to be a part of that. And do any of you have an interest in working with couples and families in the future? Some of you do? All right, all right. Well, I'm going to tell you, are you working with some couples and families now in internship?
Yes.
Yes. What do you notice? What are some of the differences between working with an individual and versus a couple or family?
Actually, it's difficult because there's so many different personalities, so many different emotions that come in the midst of it. And it's like you're like a referee. And it's like, okay, so, you know, I have a desire to help them, but then I thought about it, I said, this might be the most difficult therapy that I could do. So.
Yeah, you're not sitting on, they're not laying on a couch and you're sitting behind them writing down what they're writing. Yeah, it is a totally different experience. You're right, Anthony, the emotions that go through, they reenact in your office what they do at home. And that's wonderful. We get to see what's going on in the privacy of their home, and it's happening in our office. And we have to intervene. When we're working with couples and families, we have to be on top of it. There's no daydreaming or getting bored when you have a few people in your office. Your mind never floats away because, you know, and we have to remember, and it's helpful for me to remember this. I remind myself, even after so many years of doing this, that they come to us when they're at their breaking point. It takes that to get in to see us, right? No one comes in and calls me and says, hey, Patty, we're celebrating our 40th anniversary. Can we just come talk to you about our celebration? You know, that's not what we do. They don't come to us with that. They come to us because they've hit a wall and someone's become desperate.
But it seemed like the ones I've seen that they want me to take sides. It's like, tell him that he's wrong, or she's tell him that I'm right. It's like, oh my goodness. So it seemed like, okay, they want me to take sides, and it's like, okay, that's not what you want. So I mean, that's not, it's going to help anything, but it's like a battle right there before you, and you're the referee.
Yes, and it very much can be that way. And so with couples, especially when you have two opposing forces, it's a little different when you have the children in there or extended family. But when you have the couple, one of our most important parts of walking into our room is to work very, very hard to be neutral and to find a way to align with each one of them. Even when you're sitting there going, I can't stand what that person just said. They are so wrong. We have to fight that, and we have to say, I wonder what's going on inside of them that's causing them to react like this. And we have to remain as objective as we can objectivity is really important, and we got to work on that because they are so good at pulling us to one side or the other. And when we're pulled, we can't be effective anymore. And there's lots of ways to stay objective, and maybe as we go along, we'll be talking about that more. But yeah, it's hard, and at the end of the day, even though we've been sitting usually on our rear ends, we're extremely tired. Aren't you tired from internship? Have you done anything that's tiring? Yeah, it's very tiring, and it's very, I was gonna say rewarding. I think that's the word I want. How often do people get to muck around in the privacy of other people's relationships and help them heal them and rebuild them, or recreate them? Not just rebuild them, sometimes they have to be recreated in a totally different way. And that's even if the marriage doesn't survive, we can help them recreate them in a healthier way. So, yeah. Any other thoughts about what I've been saying?
I'm just super excited to work. So I work in the substance abuse field. I've been a substance abuse counselor for, I don't even know, 10 years, 11 years. And I do a lot of couple and family work, especially with kiddos who have parents who've had substance use. And so I'm just kind of really excited to dive more into I know there's not much of a difference, but to kind of get out of that substance realm and like have like marriage stuff that doesn't revolve around you're using alcohol or you're doing this kind of a thing, and have some different issues. I'm kind of excited for that.
Good. And I just bet, Sarah, that all of your experience you're going to be able to apply with the new things that you're learning. That sounds really exciting. Yeah.
Love doing couples and family. I actually tell people when they because I'm working at an agency, so we don't see our own clients for families or couples. We refer to another counselor. So I've been taking all of them because nobody else wants to do it. So I love it.
Oh, good. So great. So you know what it's like to structure the setting and structure the time together. Yeah. Good. You know, in the first and second chapter of the textbook, I really want you to look at that because it has a lot of terms. There are different words that we use in marriage and family therapy that you don't find in other ways of working. I'm thinking about cybernetics and the feedback loop, those kinds of things. I want you to review those so you understand them. Another big reason I want you to learn the nomenclature of the field is because you're going to have a midterm and a final. And those midterms and finals are multiple choice, and they're totally from the text. So the Nichols textbook. So I want you to become familiar with those terms. Another extremely important term is homeostasis. That's really big in the marriage and family history of the field. So you want to be sure and have a clear understanding of that. And we can be revisiting those terms throughout the semester in these collaborates at any time. Some of them are kind of complicated and others aren't so complicated.
Patty, I do have one question. Going back to the presentation, I guess, or the paper.
The paper?
I'm kind of confused still a little bit, but sorry.
That's all right.
So the topic we choose, so it can't just be on the therapy. It needs to be on the therapy plus a therapist. Or is it like it can be on the therapy or a therapist? That I don't know.
So I want you in session 4 to look at the milestone paper, and it has a list of exactly the things that you want to cover that are required. There's bullet points and it'll tell you. As I can't really remember if the pioneer or the person is actually listed there. To me, I think looking at the pioneer who developed the theory makes it more fun for me or more relatable. But if it's not on that bullet point, you don't have to do it, and points won't be taken off if it's not there, if you didn't do that. So Jamie, we've got to go back and look at the list, and I'll go back and look at it too. I'm not sure it says you have to look at the therapist, the actual pioneer. Sometimes it's one and the same. Like the Bowenian stuff, you can't research Bowen without researching him. But for other people, it's not one and the same. For other theories, like what can I think of? Structural family therapy, you can do that whole thing without talking about Salvador Minuchin. Although when you do your research, Salvador Minuchin's going to be in there, so it'll just naturally be incorporated into your research. The big movers and shakers, again, there's
Thank
big,
you.
you're welcome. So look at that, see what it says. And Jamie, do you go by Jamie or Jamie Lee? Jamie Lee?
Yeah, whatever's easier for you. Whatever rolls off the tongue better. It's
All
fine.
right. So as you're picking out your topics and you're looking at the requirements, just ask me anything about that for clarification. Again, remember, we have 14 weeks to cover what you usually cover in 7. There shouldn't be any more readings in this course for 14 weeks than you have in 7 because it's 3 credits. So again, the pace is going to be, it's going to be slower. It's just going to be, this is actually like a regular semester, like when I went to school in the Dark Ages. And it's actually going to be a 14-week semester, like in the old days. So we'll manage it together. Oh, what was I? I was going to say something else about the 14 weeks. Yeah. I can't remember. Any other questions before we sign off? I'm sorry about the collaborate yucky stuff.
I have one last question about the dyad.
Yeah.
If we're not submitting our, oh wait, maybe I'm getting this wrong. Do we have to submit who we're working with prior to session 4? I guess we would, because it's part of the genogram. When do we do this?
It is, you have to do it with the genogram. So by session 4, I need
Okay.
to know.
We don't need to like hop off here and get free.
Isn't that weird? It's just really weird, Allison, isn't it? So that all needs to be in place for the genogram.
Okay.
And then after you do the genogram, if you want to have different partners to read your research papers, I'm fine with that. Maybe there's too much freedom in this course. Is there too much freedom? No, good. I really want you to be free to study here in this course what you want to. My goal is that you get an overview. It's a survey course. It's not a practice course where you're going to learn to actually practice family therapy. You're going to learn about the history of it. You're going to learn all the names that are important in the field, and you're going to get an idea. I hope you get an idea of someone you'd like to be like if you're going to work with couples and families. And then when graduate school is over, you are all going to get more training. This isn't the end of your training. You're going to get more later. And if you want to work with couples, this course, I'm hoping this will give you the background to say, oh, I'm going to take some training in Gottman's work. I'm going to take some training in Sue Johnson's work. I'm going to take some training in solution-focused marital work. That's what I hope you get from this course. When I taught this in SEAT, we did a lot of family sculpting because it's one of the things I like to do. And so I'll miss doing that with you all, but we certainly can talk about it. All right. Well, it's 7:02. I know you all have busy lives. Thank you for being here, all of you. Any questions before we stop the session?
I have one question. Sorry.
Yes, Natalie.
You don't want us, I mean, it doesn't matter if we write anything on the post tonight, or do you? Okay.
There is no posting tonight. There's not
Okay.
even a spot for you to get points for this night.
Okay. Well, there was it does say something like post your 3 talking points. So I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, for tonight, there's no column. There's no grading column to give you points for tonight. So this is it. Nothing else. Just you're getting to know you. You got to do your getting to know you.
Do we have to respond to those?
That's a good question, Jamie.
I say we let it go for this week. It's a lot to take in, all this stuff.
Oh, that's an interesting question. You all have had tons of classes together, haven't you?
A year and a half's worth. We know
Yeah.
each other a lot.
I think we know everybody's craziness. So
Yes.
everybody's business.
Oh, right. Well, you better read mine, Jamie Lee. You read mine.
Okay. I will.
Because you don't know me well yet.
I know.
So you all have to read one. You got to read mine because I went to the trouble to write it. And I will read all of yours because that's my job. So I'll read all of
Okay.
it. So yeah, you don't have to read each other's. There's no discussion points. And I think, yeah, let's just leave it at that. Write your getting to know you so I get to know you and you all know each other. So I'm good with that. Any other questions before we sign off? All right, so we're going to learn about marriage and family therapy these 14 weeks. I also, I really want to try and bring in the practical aspects of all this stuff and how I do it and how I've done it. If I could make this more alive for you, I will do my very best. Don't ever hesitate to ask me, all right? Any questions, and I'll do my best to share with you my experience. And I do it every week. I see couples every week, so hopefully we can have some real things. And also, if you have in your internship, not that I'll be giving supervision, this will be more of a learning process where you bring things in and maybe talk about how whatever we're learning about that week might apply to the people you're working with, and then you take that back to your supervisor. Sound good? All right. Yeah. Okay, God bless you, everybody. So thanks for hanging in there with me.
Bye. Have a good night, guys.
You too. Bye.
Thank you.
Welcome.